Imagine walking into the street tomorrow and seeing everyone wearing the exact same style of clothes they wore 10, 20, even 100 years ago. No new trends, no changing colors, no seasonal collections. What if fashion never changed? The consequences might be far more surprising than you think. Fashion is more than fabric stitched together. It's an expression of identity, culture, rebellion, and even politics. Over centuries, styles have evolved from Roman togas to medieval gowns, from Victorian corsets to the ripped jeans and streetwear of today. Each shift has told a story about its time, reflecting changes in technology, social movements, and even global conflicts. But let's step into a parallel timeline, one where styles are fixed forever. The year might be 2025, but people still wear exactly what they wore in 1925, or 1825, or 1025. Tailors, designers, and fashion houses no longer chase trends because trends don't exist. Clothing is purely functional, unchanged for generations. At first, this might sound peaceful. No more pressure to keep up with the latest look, no fast fashion filling landfills, no endless cycle of spending. It might even feel liberating to some, but the ripple effects on culture, economy, and even innovation could be enormous, changing the very fabric of society quite literally. If fashion never changed, every era would be trapped in a visual time capsule. Imagine the roaring 1920s flapper dresses never giving way to the minimalist 1960s, or the bold 1980s, never shifting into the athleisure of the 2010s. Clothing would become as much a historical marker as architecture. Walking down the street in different countries would be like stepping into a living museum. Japan eternally in Edo period kimonos. Paris frozen in early 20th century could rule America still in denim overalls and work shirts. Tourists might feel as though they've traveled back in time, not just across continents, but cultural exchange would slow dramatically. Today, fashion blends influences from around the world. African prints mix with European tailoring. Asian streetwear inspires global brands, and indigenous designs influence runway collections. Without change, those cross-pollinations vanish. Cultures stay visually isolated, preserving traditions but also deepening divides. Even political and social movements would lose a key tool. In our real history, clothing has been a silent language. Hippie styles in the 60 Segundos, punk rebellion in the 80s, and gender-fluid fashion today all sent powerful messages. In this alternate reality, those visual revolutions never happen. Immigrants would be instantly recognizable forever by their unchanged styles, making integration harder. Historical stereotypes might be reinforced instead of challenged. Generational identity would weaken. Young people couldn't rebel with new looks, forcing them to find other, possibly riskier, outlets. The global fashion industry is worth over $1.5 trillion, employing millions in design, manufacturing, marketing, and retail. In a world without change, the need for seasonal collections, runway shows, and marketing campaigns disappears overnight. Retail becomes purely you buy new clothes only when the old ones wear out. Shopping districts shrink, malls close, and countless jobs vanish, from haute couture designers to fast fashion factory workers. Textile innovation slows because there's no incentive to create new fabrics for new styles. The fashion capitals of the world, Paris, Milan, New York, might lose their prestige and economic power. Luxury brands collapse or transform into status symbols based solely on craftsmanship, not trendsetting. Without seasonal hype, their sales plummet. Fast fashion doesn't exist, which is good for the environment, but devastating for economies reliant on low-cost clothing production. The knock-on effects spread further. Shipping companies lose a massive chunk of their cargo business. At devastation, agencies lose one of their most lucrative industries, and influencer culture built on what's new never even emerges. Entita cities like Milan, Paris, and New York lose major revenue from fashion weeks and tourism tied to them. Advertising agencies face huge downsizing without the constant need to promote new collections. Charity shops and thrift stores thrive, but as utilitarian hubs for replacements, not style treasure troves. Fashion is one of the most immediate ways humans express individuality. If it never changed, clothing would stop being a canvas for personality. Your outfit wouldn't say, "I am creative" or "I am rebellious." It would only reflect your social role, cultural heritage, or level of wealth. Trends often act as markers of time in personal memory. Without them, decades blur together. Looking back at a photo album would feel strange. Your grandparents' wedding attire might be identical to your own. Even movies and TV shows would struggle to convey a specific era visually, making historical storytelling harder. Social status would still exist, but it would be signaled differently, through accessories, jewelry, fabric quality, or rare colors. Instead of flaunting the newest sneaker drop, people might display wealth through embroidery techniques known only to master artisans, or with garments dyed in shades reserved for the elite. Teen identity crises look different. Rebellion might come through music, slang, or extreme hairstyles instead of clothes. People might value durability over aesthetics, leading to heirloom garments passed down for centuries, complete with family histories. Street-style photography, fashion blogging, and influencer culture simply wouldn't exist. Fast forward to today. In this frozen fashion reality, wedding dresses are identical to those worn 100 years ago. Celebrities on red carpets wear the same designs year after year, with the only difference being the jewelry they choose. Museums of fashion don't exist. There's nothing to evolve or archive. Ironically, creativity doesn't vanish, it mutates. Instead of changing cuts and colors, people pour artistic energy into other arenas: architecture, interior design, hairstyles, makeup, or wearable tech. You might see the same suit for decades, but it could be paired with cybernetic arm pieces, glowing fabrics, or programmable jewelry that changes patterns while keeping the base garment identical. Yet, without the rapid churn of trends, society feels slower. There's less cultural noise, fewer seasonal events, and less anticipation for the next big thing. In some ways, life is calmer and more sustainable, but also less vibrant, with fewer opportunities for mass cultural moments. If fashion never changed, we'd gain stability but lose one of humanity's most visible forms of creativity. Our streets would look like frozen postcards. Our economies would shift away from one of their most dynamic industries, and our sense of time and identity would transform in ways that might leave us feeling oddly disconnected from history. This thought experiment reveals that fashion isn't just vanity, it's a mirror of history. It reflects who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. Without it, the story of humanity would be harder to read at a glance. The real question isn't whether fashion should stop changing, it's whether it can change in ways that respect creativity, culture, and the planet, allowing us to evolve without destroying the world we live in. If you enjoyed imagining a world of frozen fashion, try this one. What if color didn't exist? Discover how art, culture, and even emotions would transform in a grayscale reality. Click now for your next mind-bending scenario.